Hello and welcome to First Post. Throughout the week, you're inundated with news, the heavy-duty kinds. So, since it's the weekend, we thought we'd bring you something different. The odd, the offbeat, the outlandish stories that don't make it to the headlines. For our first story, let's talk about fear. Fear comes in all shapes and sizes. And if you're a cat, it comes in the shape of a cucumber. Apparently, cats are deadly afraid of cucumbers. And it's hilarious. Our next report takes a look.
Anyone who has used the internet in the past decade knows that cat videos float across the web. Sure, there are videos of cats literally floating, but you know what we mean. And you don't need to be a cat person to appreciate them, because cats can be adorable and majestic, but also a complete nuisance. All in all, cats are chaotic, and it makes for hilarious content. And they aren't scared of much. They will happily throw your favorite pot off of the balcony, or even stir your glass of water with their paw, all while maintaining eye contact with you. It seems like they know exactly what they're doing, and they don't give a flying fur about it. But there is one thing that scares cats. It makes them arch their backs and aggressively meow. They can't help but jump in complete panic. They have an arch enemy. They fear it and loathe it. But they also want to understand it. They hate Cucumis sativus. Don't worry, we're just talking about cucumbers. The unassuming garden vegetable. Who knew that this member of the gourd family would get cats to keep their guard up? And trust us, cats versus cucumbers is one of the funniest battles you will see. It's all over the internet. People have been sharing these videos for years now, showing their cats' extreme reactions to cucumbers. How does it work? People place a cucumber behind a cat, usually while it is distracted, like eating food. Eventually, the cat turns around and sees the vegetable, and that is when all hell breaks loose. The cat is screaming at the cucumber, leaping into the air, bumping into furniture. Now the obvious question is, why are cats so scared of cucumbers? Experts say that cucumbers confuse cats. They want their personal space to be safe and secure, and cucumbers make it seem the very opposite. It is also possible that cats associate cucumbers with snakes, which are deadly predators. But even if that's not the case, any strange object can trigger their natural startle reflexes. They don't like to be surprised. It's almost like someone sneaking up on you. You'd get startled too. So cats want nothing to do with cucumbers. They want to get out of there as quickly as possible. But they also want to reassess it later, usually from a distance. Cats may be deadly predators, at least for the mice that wreak havoc in our homes, but they are also animals of prey. So it is instinct to avoid anything that seems like a threat. And knowing this, animal experts have a word of caution. Funny as it may be, causing distress to an animal is not a good thing. So maybe it's time to have a good laugh and retire this trend? It's up to you, but we'd recommend keeping your cucumbers off the floor and in your salads.
Now, at risk of making this week's episode an animal special, our next story is about a dog. His name is Coco, and he's apparently addicted to alcohol. Yeah, we're not making this up. Our next report brings you the story.
Actor Humphrey Bogart once said, "The problem with the world is that everyone is a few drinks behind." We say the real problem is when a dog is one too many drinks ahead. We're talking about a dog in the UK. His name is Coco, and he has reportedly become addicted to alcohol. He's currently being cared for at an animal shelter in Devon. They initially took in 2 dogs after their owner passed away. But soon after arriving, both dogs showed symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. They were repeatedly fitting. The animal shelter says it's a first for them. After all, you don't hear about alcoholic animals too often. One of the dogs, named Georgie, passed away. The other, Coco, is under intensive care. He requires around-the-clock care. He just spent 4 weeks sedated. The good news is, he now has made full recovery. Staff at the animal shelter believes their previous owner was a heavy drinker. But worry not. They also say that the dogs were very well loved. And it seems like they were well looked after because of their training and love for cuddles. Coco's story has melted the hearts of many. It has also signaled towards an important issue, one that involves dogs and alcohol. Pet owners sometimes give their pet dogs alcohol. Sometimes dogs accidentally consume an unattended or spilled drink. Remember, alcohol is hazardous to dogs. Even a small amount can poison them, and this is especially true for puppies. It can cause vomiting, disorientation, lack of body control, difficulty breathing, and diarrhea. It takes less than 30 minutes for a dog's body to absorb alcohol, and it affects their brain first, followed by their respiratory and cardiovascular system. Usually, immediate medical attention is required. So let Coco's story be an inspiration, and accept that alcohol is not meant to be shared with everyone. In the case of dogs, simple treats will do.
Now for our next story, let's talk about catching fugitives. How does an exorcism sound? Yeah, we're not suggesting this. This comes directly from Colombia's police service. Our next report brings you the details. Every national police director must fight crime. Their methods must be effective and should make logical sense. That's the bare minimum. But Colombia's police director, Henry Sanabria, his methods are questionable, and now he's been fired over them. He suggested exorcisms to fight crime. Sanabria was appointed in August last year. He's a staunch Catholic. Now he's under internal investigation and caught in the middle of a scandal. He has allegedly inappropriately allowed his religious beliefs to infringe on his duties. Last month he gave an interview. He said the police uses exorcisms to fight crime, saying that prayers and exorcisms help catch drug pins and guerrilla leaders. He even said they helped catch notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar. On top of that, people couldn't help but notice that during the interview, his office was cluttered with crucifixes, effigies and other such symbols. And to be clear, Sanabria is not being persecuted over his religion, but he is being told to separate his religious beliefs from the state. Because if exorcisms are being used to catch criminals, what's next? Asking for policy decisions from an Ouija board? That's it for this week's episode of Beyond Bizarre. We'll be back next week with more stories that are anything but basic.